What's going on, guys? This is Zombie Dad with Zombie Dad Games, and tonight I am going to go over my Marincess deck profile with you guys. Now I know it might seem kind of funny, the name's Zombie Dad and I'm not playing a zombie deck. I have played zombies in the past, but right now I just really like Marincess. It's actually one of my favorite archetypes in the entire game. So I'd just like to share with you guys kind of what I've been playing recently. So we're going to go over the main deck and the extra deck. I don't have a side put together, otherwise I would show you that. But let's just go ahead and let's dive into it. So first we're just going to go over the Marincess monsters themselves. So we're going to start with 3 copies of Marincess Blue Tang. She's probably the best normal summon in the deck. She is a Foolish Burial for a Marincess monster, and then if she's used as link material, you get to excavate 3 and add a Marincess card that you excavate to your hand. So she's really good for sending your combo pieces and adding the trap if you see it off the excavation. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Marincess Seahorse. She's probably the second best monster in the deck. These two are really good at 1-card combos. So if you see either one of them, you can almost go full combo. Seahorse leaves you just a little bit short unless you see an additional extender. But these 2 cards by themselves can do the combo. So everything else in your hand is just additional resources. After that, we're playing 3 copies of Marincess Pascalis. I really like Pascalis. She is a normal summon and then effect to special summon another Marincess monster from your hand. So like Pascalis and Blue Tang is just nuts. They're awesome to see together because you still get Blue Tang's effect even when she's special summoned. So you're just comboing off like crazy at that point. And then the one controversial card, I'm only playing 1 copy of Marincess Mandarin. A lot of people play this at 2. And I understand why if you think you're going to be going into the grind game. I only play 1. I've never actually needed a second copy, so 1 is just enough for me. She's just another extender. Says if you control 2 or more Marincess monsters, you special summon her from hand or grave. So just another neat little effect to get a water monster on field, because this deck really likes water monsters and wants to see them and get them on the field. So that's actually it for the Marincess count. I'm only playing these 10 monsters. So then we will move on for our generic water extenders. I'm playing 3 copies of Silent Angler and 3 copies of Tiny Spirit Shatana. These 2 are both level 4. They're both water and they both special summon themselves from your hand, which is just super useful. The deck can lose to certain hand traps and back row removal, so the level 4 aspect of it gets you into a Bahamut Shark, and that allows you to summon a Totally Awesome, which plays around those weaknesses. So both of these two cards are just fantastic cards to have in the deck. 3 of each of them is definitely mandatory. After that, we'll move on to our hand trap lineup. The advantage with Blue Tang and Seahorse being the 1-card combos that they are is it lets you play a little bit of a bigger hand trap lineup. So currently I'm playing 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Ghost Bell, and I've actually opted to play 3 DD Crow. This is technically a flex spot, so if you want to play a different hand trap like Droll or even Imperm or Veiler, feel free to do that. I chose Crow because where I play, more and more of our players have decided to go with Sky Striker and other graveyard-based decks, and Crow just seems to be the most impactful. So that's the only reason that I chose him over any other hand trap. So I just play those 9, but I feel like 9 in this deck is about the perfect number. Moving on to our spells, we're going to play 1 copy of Marincess Battle Ocean. This is the bread and butter of the deck. You get the field spell, you go and do a link 3 or 4 with Marincess Crystal Heart, and that link monster becomes unaffected by all card effects. It's super good. As I explained with the Totally Awesome play before, this is a huge crutch for the deck, because if this gets destroyed, then your monster's not unaffected anymore, and your opponent can do whatever they're choosing to do to you. So this, you want to see it, you want it on field, you want to protect it. After that, we're playing 3 copies of Signet Mining. By now I think everybody knows what this card does. discard a Cyber, search a or discard a card, search a level 4 or lower Cybers. My apologies. It's just a generic searcher for the deck, and it gets you to the combo pieces you need to see. Next, I'm only playing 2 copies of Pot of Desires. A lot of people would probably, they'd get on me for that. They say it's mandatory to run it at 3. I choose 2 because my personal luck is I see Desires off Desires about 73% of the time. So I just opted to play 2 simply for the fact that I don't like seeing it off of itself, and if you cut one, the odds of that happening are at least a little bit lower. And then the 1 power 1 of we're playing 1 copy of Called by the Grave. Obviously it's only at 1, so you only get 1, but it is just, you know, a way to stop hand traps and continue your combos if you happen to run into something like that. So that's actually it for the spells. Not a huge spell lineup. Okay, moving on to the traps. This is the 1 card you always want to see in your hand, but we're playing 3 copies of Marincess Wave. This card is just nuts. So you can activate it from your hand. It's a monster effect negation, and if you control a Link 2 or higher Marincess, it will make all of your face-up monsters unaffected by card effects until the end of the turn, which is just super good. To activate it from the hand, you do have to control a Link 3 or higher Marincess, but if you're going first, your combo, you always end on at least a Link 3 or higher. And that's sometimes even if you're playing, you can play through a Nibiru and still end on a Link 3. So it's just a super good card and you always want to see it. The next card that we're playing is 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. This one kind of speaks for itself. I already hit on the fact that you want the field spell to stay alive. You set a Judgment, they activate a Cyclone or a Twin Twisters or anything that can pop your field spell, you're going to negate that to keep your field spell up. So Judgment is Judgment, it's just a fantastic trap, and this deck synergizes really well with it. For the last trap, we're playing Paleozoic Dynamiscus. It's just a good trap. It's one of those that you can banish something on the field, it fills your graveyard with resources, and if you activate another trap while it's in the graveyard, it will special summon itself out as a water monster, so then you can just continue to link climb and combo with this card. So that just makes it super good. So that is actually it for the trap lineup and for the main deck. I think last time I counted it's 40 cards. It might be 41. Sometimes I have this weird OCD tick that I need to play 41 cards. It just depends on the deck. So that's it for the main deck. We're going to move on to the extra deck. It's pretty standard. There's one thing in here that I would change that I'll explain when I get there. So to start off, we're going to go with the Marincess monster. So we play 2 copies of Blue Slug. This one just allows you to add a Marincess from grave back to hand. She's extremely useful in extending your combo, and she's the first step in the combo itself. After her, we're playing 1 copy of Marincess Sea Angel. This card searches the field spell, so that's what I was saying earlier with it being searchable. She searches it and lets you add it to your hand, so she's extremely critical if you don't open the field spell, that you have to go into her and find it. After her, we're playing 2 copies of Coral Anemone. Anemone's cool. She's just another one of those. She special summons 1 from grave and just allows you to continue your combos. And then if she's sent to the graveyard, you get to add 1 from grave back to hand. So she just sets up a follow-up. So she's another part of the regular combo that is extremely critical for getting to the end board you're trying to get to. After her, we play 1 copy of Crystal Heart. This card is extremely important and actually has a cool interaction with Nibiru I'll explain in just a second. But she's the one that the field spell specifies. If she's used as link material, your monsters are unaffected by card effects, the ones that she's used for material for. But she herself says if she's in the extra monster zone, she's unaffected by card effects. So if you go into her as the 5th summon in the extra monster zone and your opponent doesn't realize that and attempts to Nibiru you, she's unaffected. So she stays there, and then you have the potential to continue comboing off if you haven't used all of the extenders out of your hand yet. So she's just super good. We're on 1 copy of Marincess Marbled Rock. Marbled Rock is really cool because she's battle protection. You know, if your opponent were to attack you in the battle phase, you can discard a Marincess card or a Marincess monster and negate the effect, or the battle, excuse me. So she's just cool. It's a good way to protect. She's who you end on if your combo gets disrupted and you can't get to one of the Link 4s. My favorite card in the extra deck is one of the Link 4s, and that's Marincess Great Bubble Reef. She's just super good. She lets you banish a Marincess card during the standby phase, a Marincess monster, and draw a card, and that's during both player standby phases. So you actually get to draw cards on your opponent's turn, dig for hand traps, dig for wave, whatever you might be missing, she helps you see. And then whenever a Marincess monster is banished face up from the graveyard, she gains 600 attack. So she also lets you draw cards and gets really, really big for pushing for damage. The biggest one of these I've ever seen was 6,400 attack. And I mean, for some decks, that's just really hard to get around or really hard to get hit by. So she's just my favorite, and she's super good. And then for the last Marincess Link, we're playing one copy of Marincess Wonderheart. She's another one of those that kind of does battle phase shenanigans. So when she attacks a monster, you can activate her effect to special summon one of the Link monsters equipped to her. So if you're really lucky, you'll have like a Marbled Rock equipped to her, and then she'll be able to special summon the Marbled Rock in the battle step, so then the Marbled Rock also gets to attack. So it's just another way to kind of push for damage. And then at the end of the turn, the Marbled Rock relinks to her, so she gains her attack boost back, and then she keeps all of the equips that are on her. So that's actually it for the Marincess Link monsters. So we'll go ahead and move on to our more generic Link monsters. So you're playing one copy of Splash Mage. This is just an obvious card. It's a water, it's a Cyberse, and it specials from graveyard. Splash Mage is one of the best Cyberse extender Link monsters that we've had in the game, and it just works even better in this deck because of the fact that it's water. After that, I am playing the update transcode package. This is where I was talking earlier, where you might make some changes. Update Jammer, transcode, I mean, most people know what they do now. You use update, go into transcode. Transcode can attack twice, bring back the update. They're co-linked, they're unaffected, they can't be targeted by card effects, and they gain attack and all that stuff. Update Jammer should be an access code. I currently don't have one, so fingers crossed that he gets that reprint announced for the Megatins. That's really what we're hoping for. But for now, Update Jammer is an okay substitution because of this, this combo here that you can do with these two cards. Now you do have to be careful with the Marincess monsters. If you use Blue Slug or Coral Anemone's effects, they do lock you into water monsters. That makes these two unusable. So you really just have to be smart with how you play and know, like, if you're going to go into Update Jammer, that you can't activate those effects and lock yourself into water monsters. You just have to link off and go from there. So that's my options right now. I will be playing access code over update when I get one. And then for the last three cards, our XZs, we're playing a Bahamut Shark, an Abyss Dweller, and a Totally Awesome. Now I kind of explained it earlier, your extenders are all level 4, and that's because you want to get into Bahamut Shark, because Bahamut Shark gets you into Totally Awesome, and Totally Awesome can negate Nibiru, other hand traps, back row stuff, and just protect you for at least one interaction. And then Abyss Dweller, he's just one of the best generic rank 4s that we've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! The cool thing with Abyss Dweller in this deck is the materials underneath him are in fact water, so he does gain his attack boost. A lot of people don't realize that, so they'll just swing into him thinking he's 17, but he actually gains that 500 attack, so it just makes him a little bit bigger, and they're not aware of that. So I only played the 3 XZs, but I think that's more than enough. I apologize for the gold rare toad. Had a secret and couldn't find it, so this is the one I'm using for now. But that is actually going to be it. Overall the deck, I really enjoy it. I've had a lot of fun with it. I played Salamangreat when it first came out and really enjoyed that. And this is basically just the water version of Salamangreat with pretty ocean themed fish ladies, I guess. And I've really enjoyed how the deck plays. At my locals, it's done pretty well so far. So I'm going to continue to play it and continue to adapt it as the format really comes into its own and we kind of see what it is. You know, so that's pretty much it. I appreciate you guys for watching. Don't be afraid to like the video, leave a comment. I try to answer as many of them as I can, and subscribe to the channel. And I'm gonna try to keep putting videos out whenever I can. I'm still fairly new, but I appreciate you guys giving it a watch and giving me a chance. So this is Zombie Dad signing out. You guys have a great night, and I'll see you around.